Imagine a quiet classroom, sunlight filtering in through the windows, as students bend over their desks, pencils scratching as they race against the clock. For Maya, this is a familiar setting, a place where the ticking of the clock feels as loud as her own heartbeat. She's always strived to do her best, to score high, to make her parents proud. The grade at the top of every test paper has become a kind of measurement of her worth. At least, that's how she's always seen it. But on this particular day, things didn't go as planned. The math test, filled with tricky problems and unexpected questions, felt overwhelming. When the graded paper came back, Maya's eyes scanned for the score, her stomach dropping at the red ink that spelled out a number much lower than she'd hoped for. The disappointment was instant and sharp. The chatter around her faded, replaced by the sound of self-doubt whispering, "You're not good enough." For many students, grades can feel like powerful symbols, validation when they're high, disapproval when they're low. But is that really what learning is all about? It took Maya some time and reflection to realize that maybe, just maybe, one test score doesn't tell the whole story. Feeling defeated, Maya took her test paper home, expecting a stern lecture. Instead, her father sat beside her and asked, "What did you learn?" The question caught her off guard. She confessed her mistakes, how she'd misread the word problems, rushed through calculations, and mixed up formulas. Her father nodded and said, "Every mistake is a bit of feedback, a clue for what you can try differently next time. The grade is just an outcome, but the learning is in the trying." That idea lingered in Maya's mind, weaving its way through her thoughts. What if, instead of seeing the grade as a judgment, she could see it as guidance? What if failure wasn't an end, but the start of something new? The next day, Maya approached her teacher and asked to go over the test together. They reviewed each question, examining the ones she missed. Her teacher commended her curiosity and perseverance, reminding her that understanding where things went wrong is how real learning happens. The test isn't just to see what you know, her teacher explained. It's meant to show you where to grow. The more Maya reflected, the more she realized that a growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed with effort and learning, changes everything. It means that a grade is just feedback, not a sentence. It means the word failure can be redefined, not as falling short, but as finding another step to take. With this fresh perspective, Maya started seeing challenges differently. In science class, when her experiment didn't work as expected, she didn't feel embarrassed. Instead, she grew curious, asking herself, what could she try differently next time? In language arts, when her essay came back with a slew of suggestions, she didn't shrink from the feedback. She used it as a ladder, climbing toward a better draft. Each time she moved away from thinking, "I can't do this," to asking, "What can I do to improve?" Maya's friends noticed the change too. When they worried about upcoming tests or felt crushed by a low score, she encouraged them to see those moments as growth opportunities. "It's like learning to ride a bike," she told them. "You don't expect to be perfect the first time you try. You fall, you learn, you adjust, and you get better." Over time, her grades did improve, but that wasn't the most important change. The greatest shift was in her mindset, her willingness to take on new challenges, to ask questions, to see mistakes as teachers rather than foes. Maya discovered a truth that powerful learners understand. Growth is about the journey, not just the destination. This transformation is at the heart of what educators and psychologists call the growth mindset. Pioneered by Dr. Carol Dweck and validated by decades of research, the growth mindset unlocks the willingness to embrace learning, to persist through setbacks, and to view intelligence as a horizon rather than a ceiling. It's the difference between saying, "I'm not good at this," and "I'm not good at this yet." Practicing a growth mindset takes courage. It asks students to step outside the comfort of easy success and to wade into the territory of challenge and mistake. But the rewards are rich. Greater resilience, increased confidence, and the ability to weather the storms of academic and personal life. So how can students like Maya, and all students, cultivate this powerful mindset? It starts with reframing the way we think about failure. Instead of seeing it as an endpoint, we see it as information, feedback that guides us forward. It continues with effort. Understanding that practice, persistence, and asking for help are not signs of weakness, but of a commitment to keep growing. And finally, it comes from curiosity, a willingness to ask, learn, and improve, regardless of what the first attempt looked like. Imagine a world where grades are just one small piece of the learning journey, where students feel safe to ask questions, explore new ideas, and stumble along the way. Where the question after a setback isn't, "What did I do wrong?" but "What can I do differently next time?" This is the power of the growth mindset, a belief that opens doors, both in learning and in life. Maya's story is one that students everywhere can relate to. She learned that her grade doesn't define her. It simply helps her find her path forward. Learning is more than a score. It's about exploring, questioning, and growing, one small step at a time. So, the next time you face a challenge or a disappointing result, remember Maya's lesson. Ask yourself, what did I learn? How can I use this moment to grow? Because true success isn't about never failing. It's about never giving up on the journey of learning. In the end, your grade is just a snapshot, but your growth is the whole story. Embrace the belief that your abilities can be developed. See mistakes as feedback. Allow yourself to try, to fail, and to improve. That's how you awaken your mind and discover the real meaning of education. Thank you for watching this episode of Mind Awakening TV. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an awakening moment. Leave your thoughts in the comments, and let's continue the conversation. Stay curious and keep expanding your mind.